outside this judge from the Air Force.
So how did you get inspired or get involved in aviation?
Well, how did I get in aviation? Well, it's a funny story. My grandfather was a truck driver, and so growing up, I wanted to be a truck driver. He hauled dirt and construction materials. As a matter of fact, he was right here from LA, and so I was going to be a truck driver. But one day, I was doing a high school orientation, born and raised in New Orleans. So I was going from junior high to high school, and I was picking classes, going through orientation. And in New Orleans, Mardi Gras is big. You play a band instrument, or you play football, you march in Mardi Gras parades. And so I was going to do that, and then later on maybe become a truck driver or something like that, like my grandfather. But one day, I was walking, going to pick classes, and I looked left, and I saw a poster with an F-16 fighter jet on it. I turned left, I joined ROTC, and I've never looked back. I don't know what it was, but that airplane called me. I went to it, I joined up, I learned about airplanes, and I took my very first flight back in 1994. Seems like ancient history now. First flight ever in 1994. I went up with an instructor, and he made a cardinal mistake that usually instructors make. They say, "Hey, watch this. Let me show you this." We did a spin, and all I remember is seeing the sky and then the ground spinning at me. And I wasn't afraid of crashing or hitting the ground or anything like that. It made me more afraid that I didn't understand what was going on with the airplane, aerodynamics, with the air, like what was going on and how do I control it. And I said, I'm going to learn how to control it, and I did. So now, 26-year military career later, 2 years captain of United Airlines right now. That's where I am, and I would say I learned how to control it a little bit.
Or anybody's interested in getting into aviation, what advice would you give them?
If you're interested in aviation, I'd say the first thing is, this one is hard to do, but dream about airplanes. So how do you dream about airplanes? I don't know. Read a book, come to the airport, do something. You have to think about airplanes. I always say 3 things. Take a dream, that's number 1. Turn that dream into a goal. Right? I dream about flying. My goal is to learn how to fly airplanes. Take that goal, turn it into an achievement. Once you achieve learning how to fly airplanes, start over with something else, and you just keep going. And so read, get to an airplane, ask questions, be a dreamer, because one thing about we airplane nerds, if you will, we airplane pilots, we are always looking up into the skies. We are always, heads in the clouds, if you will, literally. So dream and ask questions. Be inquisitive. What does an airplane do? How does an airplane fly? How can I get to do that? Go out to the airport. Talk to a pilot.
So how did you get into fueling, you said?
Well, I was working at LAX at Japan Airlines, and a friend of mine that was already working here. Because over there, everything was like hectic, busy, nonstop. You didn't even get a chance to eat your lunch. So he said, well, why don't you come over here with us? It's a little bit slower, and it's a little more personable. And that's what turned, that did it for me. That's exactly what he said. So I've been here ever since. I'm pretty much going to retire here. But once I do, I'll have more time to learn how to fly myself.
Dive into it head first, and learn everything you possibly can. And do like me, head out to the airport one day. I used to be what's called an airport kid. And an airport kid is those kids you see at the gate. You see your hands on the gate. You're kind of looking out at the airfield, watching airplanes come and go. That's an airport kid. So become an airport kid. If you want it, go get it. One thing that I haven't mentioned, I used to fly what's called a U-2 Dragon Lady, hence the Skunk Works hat. The U-2 Dragon Lady is a high altitude reconnaissance airplane. We used to fly at, I can say 70,000 plus. We're in a spacesuit, and you're about 13 miles away from outer space. So I never knew my dreams would take me to that. People say that the sky is the limit. Well, to a pilot, that's not necessarily the case, because some pilots go beyond our skies and into outer space. The next pilot could be going into another sky on another planet. So I don't agree with the sky is the limit. The sky is just a checkpoint.
So how were you selected for that position with the U-2?
So the U-2 is a very, very competitive program. You apply for it. It's all volunteer based. And you apply for it. You go through a pretty tough interview process. The interview process is almost 2 weeks long. The selection rate at one time used to be 67%. It's gone up just a few percentage points since then, just because of the needs of the Air Force. But it's always been a tough program, and you go through the program, and if you have the right stuff, the movie The Right Stuff, if you have that stuff, you are selected for the program. Not everybody gets to do it. As far as black pilots in the Air Force, I was the number 8 U-2 pilot. We have, I believe, a total of 12 now, and that's since 1955. Total U-2 pilots is only about 1,100. And so you think in the grand scheme of how many thousands of pilots there are, it's a very, very small community. It's a very tight-knit community because not everybody can do it. It's a very tough, it's a very demanding job. We used to fly anywhere from 8 to 11 hours, single seat, by yourself, alone and unafraid, sometimes afraid, alone and unafraid, and some pretty far away places. It was demanding, it was tough, but our motto to the guys that were coming, or our advice, not motto, but our advice to guys that were coming through in the interview process was literally, don't suck. That's the only advice we could give you. Don't suck. If you don't suck, you stand a very good chance of being a U-2 pilot. If you do suck, unfortunately not. In this business of aviation, there's one thing that we pilots all know. We all talk safety. Safety is paramount, right? This can be a very dangerous business. It can be a very demanding business. It can be a very stressful business. So being a professional is at the top, but you can't suck. I don't care if you're flying a Cessna 152 or if you're flying, you used to fly the space shuttle. It doesn't matter because that Cessna 152 pilot, if he sucks, bad things can happen. Just as easily as the captain of an airline. If they suck, bad things can happen. And we learn that from a very, very young age, or a very, very inexperienced age as a pilot. That's safety is paramount. You be good and you be a professional at what you do at all times. And it'll take you to civilian flying. It'll take you to military flying. It'll take you to whatever flying, space travel, who knows.
I know we're doing everything that we want to. Meanwhile, are we losing? Because we won't let go. And let's start thinking what we're doing. Don't let nothing change your mind. Let's start heading homeward bound. Get off the ground, stop losing, yeah, losing. Keep rising to the top. Give it all you got. You gotta wake up your body, wake up your body, move it around. Wake up your body, wake up your body, wake up your body, move it around. Keep on believing all the dreams inside of you, and don't stop achieving, yeah. Let some love shine on through, and don't fight the feeling, just keep on dealing. Everybody keep on moving, 'cause I know we can.